Providence City Council meeting. Today is Thursday, March 7th. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller,
Present.
Councilor Anderbois, Councilwoman Anthony,
Present.
Councilman Espinal, Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilwoman Graves,
Present.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris is absent, Councilwoman Peterson, Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo,
Present.
Councilor Royes,
Present.
Councilwoman Ryan,
Present.
Majority Whip Sanchez,
Present.
Majority Leader Taylor is absent, Councilwoman Ana Vargas,
Present.
Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Present.
You have 13 present and 2 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like to thank all of our clerks tonight for doing some hustling on our behalf. I'd like to welcome some special guests we have tonight. We have the Alphas, we have the CCRI Social Work Policy and Analysis class, welcome. And we have, of course, the Climate Jobs Coalition, welcome all. I'd like to recognize, we've got 2 birthdays. Councilwoman Graves, happy birthday. As well as yesterday, we celebrated the birthday of our policy director, Erin Easter Gardner. And last but not least, I would like to welcome Councilman Espinal back. We've been holding you holding you and your family in our prayers. So this evening, the invocation will be given by Councilman John Gonzalez. Will everyone, including our guests, please rise?
Madam President, members of this honorable body, let us come together with open hearts and open minds in our pursuit for a brighter future in the city of Providence. Let us come together for the most vulnerable in our city, and let's champion the values of unity, compassion, and innovation. Together, we can overcome the challenges, transform our communities, and ideally create a legacy of progress for the residents of our city. And I hope that tonight we can continue to embark on this journey with determination, with hope, and with unity, because for in unity there is strength. Amen.
Thank you, Councilor. The pledge will be led by Councilwoman Graves. Thank you.
Madam President,
Councilor Graves.
a point of personal interest. I would like to, can you hear it? Can you hear me now? Okay. A point of personal interest. I would like for the Alpha's citation to be read out. Do you And I would also like to see if we can get a picture of them. But it says, be it hereby known to all that the Providence City Council hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Alphas in recognition of your commitment and dedication to revitalizing and strengthening neighborhoods, and for your mission to uplift, empower, and emphasize the importance of community with a focus specifically designed to empower Black and Hispanic boys and young men in Providence through your mentoring program, fostering a culture of nonviolence and leadership both in and outside of school. And it's signed by everyone. And if we could I take a picture?
Please, yeah, and will everyone from the Alphas please stand and receive some honor and recognition? Thank you so much for what you do throughout the whole city and in your neighborhood. And join us for, we'll take a very quick recess. We'll give you your citation and take a picture. Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Graves.
Thank you.
Item 3, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 3 and move approval.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Item 4, please.
Madam President, motion to waive.
I'm sorry. Item 4, please. We're not there yet. Item 4, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of items 4 through 9.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 4 through 9? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Please note items 4 through 9 as received, and congratulations to all of the appointments therein.
So noted.
Item 10, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of items 10 through 16 and pass for the second time on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 10 through 16? Councilor Anderbois.
Thank you so much. I've spoken on item 11 before, so I won't belabor it, but I do want to invite our council members to join in a quick celebration and press availability after to celebrate the passage of the item 7, which commits us to having all of our municipal buildings be carbon neutral by 2040. And as a reminder, this is the first way that we are implementing the commitment we made a couple months ago to be America's first climate job city. And I want to recognize that we're joined today by our friends in the Climate Jobs Rhode Island Coalition, friends from the environmental community, and several union members. So really grateful that you're here and excited to be working on this with you and moving this forward as our first but not last step together. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chairwoman Anthony.
I'm sorry, I think, there it is. I'd like to address item number 10, just to make sure that people don't think we have passed on one of our TSAs that are pending in finance. This is a tax stabilization agreement, and it's not new for us. It's been active since it was approved on December 15th of 2022. And it's intended only to address drafting errors in the ordinance as originally passed. The ordinance clarifies the actual effective date of the agreement and corrects the termination. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows this is just a technical amendment of a prior TSA that is already in effect.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Further discussion on items 10 through 16? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller,
Aye.
Councilor Anderbois,
Enthusiastic aye.
Councilwoman Anthony, Councilman Espinal, Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonsalves,
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves,
Aye.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris is absent. Councilwoman Peterson. Aye. Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo.
Aye.
Councilor Royas.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Majority Whip Sanchez.
Aye.
Majority Leader Taylor is absent. Councilwoman Ana Vargas.
Aye.
Councilman Oscar Vargas is absent. You have 12 ayes and 3 absent. The motion carries. The matters are passed for the second time on a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 17, please.
Madam President,
Councilor Gonsalves.
motion to waive the reading of items 17 through 20.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 17 through 20? Councilor Gonsalves.
Madam President, today I rise to introduce item number 17, which is an amendment to the Providence zoning ordinance to strengthen regulations within our historic districts, and it calls for a 6-month demolition delay in order to protect the historic vibrancy of neighborhoods across the city. This idea was actually inspired by Brent Runyon, the former executive director of the Providence Preservation Society, who recently wrote an op-ed in the Providence Eye that I highly recommend everyone to read. And it was entitled, "Should Providence Be More Empowered to Delay Demolitions?" I understand the need for progress and growth and density and affordability in our city, and that can certainly be achieved. I know that's a big priority for each and every one of us on this council. But there also needs to be a balance, and we can achieve all of these things without a complete disruption of the historic fabrics and vibrancy of our neighborhoods. Be it surface level parking lots, be it downtown where we can push for more of that density. I know one of my colleagues today is pushing for more density in his ward, and he's got an ordinance on the docket tonight. So there are many ways that we can do this without destroying historic homes, because it's in fact the historic homes in our city and the historic properties in our city that make Providence a special place to live and a very unique place to live. Following the terrible demolitions of Angel Street in my ward, as well as the demolition of Duck and Bunny, to name a few, we clearly need more protection and regulations on demolitions in the city, particularly in historic district overlays, and that's why I'm seeking to amend the law and strengthen the regulations solely within our historic districts. You know, those who may want more regulations within our zoning code, or those who may pause for folks to have ample time and consideration to think about potential alternatives to demolition, the better. This also calls for archival documentation, amongst a number of other things, including a reapplication restriction that would result in a denial following the fact that if someone seeks an appeal or significant change to the structure due to damage or other events, that they wouldn't be able to move forward again with another application after an initial rejection. So this is an important step in the right direction. This allows us to protect properties within these historic overlays in our city, and I just want to thank so many people who are a part of this process. One person I want to shout out here is City Solicitor, or Deputy City Solicitor Megan DeSanto. I also want to shout out Etty Lee Schwab for her work on helping us draft this. I think Etty's in the crowd with us tonight. And I also want to thank our policy staff, Policy Director Easter Gardner, and also Miguel Youngs, and also all the council members who have co-sponsored this piece of legislation to protect the historic vibrancy of our city. And I just want to thank you all for your support on this initiative, and I look forward to getting it passed in committee and hopefully back to this council, where we can make an affirmative vote to ensure that we're protecting the, again, historic vibrancy of our city. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilman Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Today I would just like to rise to quickly speak on item number 20. So what I'm doing here is essentially removing any single-family zoning in my ward. like my colleague mentioned, right now with the housing crisis being as dire as it is right now, one big goal that should be all of ours to alleviate some of the pain that our neighbors are feeling is to build more housing. So although I don't expect a dramatic change in the neighborhood, what this will do is give neighbors, property owners the opportunity to build a multifamily if they choose to. It's important to recognize that this isn't forcing anyone to build a single family home. It's just removing that regulation to give them the opportunity to build a multifamily if they choose so. I would like to say that this is something that I've talked to my neighbors for almost 2 years now. So this isn't something that's a surprise to almost anyone in my neighborhood. Community engagement, credible community engagement needs to be at the forefront of everything that we do. So I'm gonna keep engaging my neighbors throughout this process. From my understanding, this has to go through the CPC and then through Councilman Espinal's ordinance committee, and then 2 passages through the full council. So this is just I don't want to say it's the beginning because there has been a lot of conversations in my ward through the process here, through local government is technically the beginning, but I would hope that my colleagues support me on this zone change in my ward and keep pushing for different policies to address the housing crisis that we're all living in. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Further discussion on items 17 through 20. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please refer items, all of them, 17 through 20, to the Committee on Ordinances.
So noted.
Item 21, please.
Madam President,
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzal.
motion to waive the reading of item 21 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 21? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 22, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 22.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 22? Councilwoman Peterson.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. For MBEs and WBEs to compete for contracts. Reason, and if there are already systemic process, if preventing prime meeting the state 10%. The equity that
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any further discussion on item 22? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Please refer item 22 to the Special Committee on State Legislative Affairs.
So noted.
Item 23.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 23 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second on item 23. Any discussion? Pro Tem Pitardo.
Discussion, Madam President. Thank you, Madam President. I rise today on this resolution. As this resolution calls on Congress to pass the Affordable Connectivity Program, ACP. It was established under President Biden's administration, bipartisan infrastructure law. It calls on Congress to reinstate and pass the $6 billion extension of this program. We know it here in Rhode Island as the broadband or internet program that gives the ability for those under lower income who qualify a bonus or a credit of $30 or up to $50 in some areas. And so today, I know that it's significant because President Biden will be speaking nationally at 9 p.m. I think it would be very fitting for all of us to listen to that and to hear that broadband, the important issue of having internet in our homes and not leave anyone behind. This program is so significant for the people that have low income, but also of the Native Americans in different zones that don't have the access to the internet. So today, all of us in the Providence City Council call on the Congress, both the House and the Senate in the U.S., to pass and extend this important tool and resource for all of our states. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Further discussion on item 23? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 24.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 24, substitute, and pass on a voice vote as amended and read into the record.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 24? Councilwoman Peterson.
Councilors, very quickly on my behalf. For us on council. Need a better understanding of the fiscal impact to the city and more specifically. Figure out what this take back in general.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Further discussion on item 24?
Madam President?
Councilor Reyes.
Thank you. I just want to echo the sentiments Councilor Peterson shared. We both co-sponsored this resolution. In recent weeks, we've seen community outrage over the school closures that have taken hold in the city. And a lot of the community members here are rightfully concerned about the lack of transparency when it comes to how folks determine and decide on which schools should be closed. So this resolution was born from that. It's unclear on as far as what metrics PPSD and RIDE are using to close down our schools. And so as a council, we really need to go into this with eyes wide open. The second thing I just want to say is we are moving what it seems like in the direction of K-8 models. And as a council, you know, we have to think about right now what that looks like. I anticipate more school closures due to the consolidation that K-8 models could potentially bring. And then we have to ask ourselves, where are those vacant buildings are going? Where are they? What hands are they going in? And I think that we have seen an alarming trend in this city, most recently, where vacant school buildings are being leased out to large charter entities. And just to share a really compelling fact with you all, is that $30 million annually gets funneled out of the Providence School District to charter tuition. $30 million a year. We need to act. We really need to pay attention to this. I'm all for diverse educational options for our kids. I am all for charter schools, but right now there's a clear imbalance. And I realize we don't have jurisdiction right now because RIDE is in control of our schools, but we need to be speaking out more about this. I don't want to speak for the council. I'm not trying to come down on this body here, but all I ask is that we pay close attention to what's happening because we cannot continue to afford charter school expansion. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Further discussion on item 24? President Pro Tem, thank you.
Thank you. I rise in support of this resolution. I think it's very timely that we really study and look at the trends that are taking place in our capital city. We know that we just discussed the last year in terms of the Achievement First and other nonprofits or charter schools. I think that we need more transparency, as it was said before, but also more accountability. As we are going through a process now of combining a hybrid school board in the Providence school system, I think they also would benefit from a study like this, because we know that the education in our city, people want the best schools for our kids. That's why we get those notices and those letters from parents that they want a school that has more interactive with their teachers, more parent involvement, and so forth. Public schools are appointed. And I encourage everyone to attend those meetings and give us feedback in terms of their involvement of this hybrid, of this election coming up for new board members in the Providence School District board that's going to be elected, at least half of it. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Further discussion on item 24? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 25, please. Oh, please read it into the record. Thank you.
Whereas the Providence Public Schools District, under the oversight of the Rhode Island Department of Education, has recently announced the closure of several schools due to concerns over the conditions of the buildings and declining enrollment. And whereas the decisions to close schools were made without sufficient public notice, community involvement, clear methodology, or metrics, potentially leaving affected communities feeling unheard, marginalized, and lacking transparency and accountability in the process. And whereas there is a growing apprehension regarding the transfer of vacant school buildings to larger charter school entities, raising questions about the potential consequences for local education dynamics and community cohesion. And whereas the rise in charter school presence in Providence has led to shifts in enrollment patterns and funding allocations, prompting a need for careful examination of its impact on the broader educational landscape. And whereas the Providence Public School Department is facing annual losses nearing $30 million to charter school tuition, there is an urgent need to assess the implications of charter school expansion on educational resources and equity within the community. And whereas it is essential to approach these issues with a balanced perspective, recognizing the value of diverse educational options while ensuring equitable access and resource distribution across all educational institutions. Now therefore be it resolved, 1, the Providence City Council insists that RIDE and PPSD make transparency and community involvement top priorities in future decisions concerning school closures. it is imperative to gather input from all relevant stakeholders, including but not limited to students, parents, teachers, and every member of the school board. 2, the Providence City Council expresses a desire for a thoughtful consideration of the implications of transferring vacant school buildings to charter schools, emphasizing the need to uphold the integrity of the local educational ecosystem and promote inclusive educational practices. 3, the Providence City Council acknowledges the complexities surrounding the role of charter schools in the Providence educational landscape and calls for a comprehensive fiscal impact study of their impact on enrollment trends and funding dynamics within the public school system. The Providence Council specifically requests that Deputy Superintendent of Operations of the Providence Public School District be tasked with conducting this study by June 1st, 2024. 4, the Providence City Council affirms its commitment to fostering collaboration and dialogue among all educational stakeholders to ensure the equitable distribution of resources and opportunities for all students in Providence. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 25, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 25 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 25? Councilwoman Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise by one of our colleagues, former colleague, Zuria in the Senate. The companion bill is in the House. But essentially, this creates a pilot rebate program for commercial landscapers to enable them to buy electric leaf blowers, thereby reducing the number of gas leaf blowers that are out there. It's a $350,000 program. It's a small program, but it's a large step towards emissions and sustainability. And I think it's a good piece of legislation. I highly support it, and I encourage my colleagues to vote its passage.
Thank you. Further discussion on item 25. Councilwoman Anderbaugh.
Thank you. I also just wanted to rise and thank Councilwoman Ryan for supporting this and for putting this forward, and our former colleague Zurier for supporting this. I really like this approach of the not penalizing folks, but really giving them the resources to make this change and reducing emissions throughout our community. And I also want to just highlight that our Parks Department has been working on something similar in partnership with the Sustainability Department, where they've been swapping out theirs and testing it out as kind of a lead by example initiative. So just wanted to highlight that and have gratitude to Councilwoman Ryan.
Thank you. Further discussion on item 25. Councilman Gonzalez.
I don't want to belabor the point here, Madam President, but I just want to thank the sponsor for her leadership on this, and I think this is fitting for future legislation before this body that will address that very issue of gas-powered leaf blowers in the city. So I want to thank you for your leadership, and looking forward to seeing what comes of it at the State House. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Hearing none, the item passes. Item 26, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item number 26.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 26? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please.
Abstain, please, from that.
Abstain. All in favor with one abstention. The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please refer 26 to the Committee on City Property.
So noted.
Item 27, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 27 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 27? Majority Whip Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Today I rise in strong support and ask my colleagues to support as well this resolution. We've done similar resolutions in the past. What we're doing here is endorsing the unionization efforts by our friends, the employees, workers of ABC 6 here in Providence. They're taking a stand to their corporate bosses to ask for fair pay, better working conditions, and just a better working environment in general. And I think we've done a pretty decent job in showing strong solidarity as a body, that anyone that wants to organize their workplace, shout out to our union brothers and sisters that are here today, that we will have their back and support. There might be a friend from ABC 6 here, so thank you for coming. But yeah, like I said, we will have the back of anyone that wants to organize their workplace here in the city of Providence. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor. Further discussion on item 27? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you for joining us tonight as well. Item 28.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 28.
Is there a second on that motion? Thank. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 28? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please refer item 28 to the Committee on City Property.
So noted.
Item 29.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 29 and pass for the first time on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 29? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller.
Aye.
Councilor Anderbaugh. Councilwoman Anthony. Councilman Espinal. Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves.
Aye.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris is absent. Councilwoman Peterson.
Aye.
Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo.
Aye.
Councilor Royas. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Majority Whip Sanchez.
Aye.
Majority Leader Taylor. Is absent. Councilwoman Ana Vargas.
Aye.
Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Aye.
You have 13 ayes, 2 absent. The motion carries. The matters passed for the first time on a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 30, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of items 30 through 35 and receive and approve.
Second, Madam President.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 30 through 35? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Please note 30 through 35 as received. And please extend my congratulations to all of the appointments and thank you for your service to the city. Item 36.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of items 36 through 43 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 36 through 43? Pro Tem.
President, I'd like to speak on number 36, which is the resolution calling on the General Assembly to pass the Payday Loan Act that is currently now at the House of Representatives, which is H5160. This issue has been debated and fought for over 20 years in the General Assembly. And I could be a witness to that as I championed that issue back then, and we're still trying to get rid of payday lending in Rhode Island. As we know that this payday lending, I also introduced an ordinance for the city of Providence, and now it's sitting in the ordinance committee, which I hope that we'll take it on soon and we pass it and brings it back to our chamber. I want to say that we want to get rid of payday lending. We've made progress. We got it down from over 700% to 261% in Rhode Island, and it's costing us millions of dollars in the state of Rhode Island. For here, we know that this is an entrapment on these small loans of $500. And when the economy gets tough, as we know it has been for the teachers, for the low income, those working poors, it becomes too onerous. And so with this encouragement sent from the city of Providence to the members of the General Assembly to pass this, We hope that they pass it so we don't have to act on it locally, but we will, as Woonsocket just did, and also Cranston. They no longer permit payday lending in their city, and I hope that we in the city of Providence could do the same. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, President Pro Tempore Pichardo. Further discussion on items 36 through 43? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motions pass. Thank you. Item 44, please.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of items 44 through 52.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 44 through 52? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Please refer item 44 to the Committee on Public Works, 45 to claims and pending suits, and note 46 through 52 as received.
So noted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 53.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 53 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 53? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Item 54.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item 54 and pass on a unanimous rising voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion passes. Councilman Gonsalves.
Madam President, motion to waive, to suspend Rule 16B of the Rules of the City Council in order to take a matter not appearing on the printed docket.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 55?
Madam President,
Councilor Royas.
I rise to introduce this resolution that wasn't on the docket, but it's a resolution that is deeply personal and profoundly important to me. This week, for some who might not know, is School Social Worker Week. As a proud school social worker myself, I've seen firsthand the vital role that school social workers play in the lives of our students and families. And so I stand here tonight to recognize School Social Worker Week, which began this Sunday, March 3rd. School social workers have contributed immensely. They are the unsung heroes. And school social workers possess a unique set of skills, allowing them to address a range of challenges facing our students, from disability to poverty, from abuse to mental illness. They are the backbone of our school system, providing essential support to those students who need it the most. School social workers are at the forefront of assessment, counseling, and family engagement. Their work not only improves educational outcomes, but also fosters a safe and nurturing learning environment for all students. But as we celebrate their work tonight, we cannot ignore the harsh reality facing school districts statewide. The looming threat of a budgetary cuts puts the positions of school social workers at risk, including 18 positions right here in our school district. These cuts would not just be a blow to our educational system. They would be a devastating blow to the social, emotional well-being and academic success of our children. And so as we consider supporting this resolution, and as we celebrate School Social Worker Week, let us stand together in support of their continued presence in our schools, ensuring that every child has access to the support they need to succeed. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Royas. So the motion is to lay it on the table so that we can take it up at our next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Madam President, motion to adjourn in sympathy and in memory of Francisco Remigio and Chris Morris, the Chicken Man of Federal Hill.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we are adjourned. For counselors, please take a short recess as we celebrate the passage of carbon neutral, and then meet us for a council as a whole meeting in room 305. Thank you very much. Oh, and join us tomorrow as we celebrate International Women's Day at 5:30? Yes, at 5:30 here on the third floor. Thank you, Councilors Graves and Peterson and Harris. To Councilor Annabra in particular for your leadership tonight. So a few months ago, we stood over there just in that hallway. Together, we proclaimed Providence as a climate job city, the first. And what happened tonight is exactly what we're talking about, right? So we're just getting started. So we are creating a 2040 deadline to update the municipal and school facilities. It's a win-win-win, right? Triple whammy, because we have one, Providence doing its part to meet the goals set in the State Act on Climate Plan. 2, we are creating healthy, safe, sustainable buildings for the public, for our students, for our teachers. And 3, we're creating a mandate to require registered apprenticeship as our path to get there, right? So alongside our city's other commitments to local hiring, to MBE and WBE use, altogether that means that we're investing in the workforce and helping turn a one-time job into a life-changing career for Providence residents. So I want to thank everyone who's here tonight from the Climate Jobs Coalition, our partners in environmental justice work and in labor for your partnership. We also really want to thank Mayor Smiley and his team for their collaboration in getting us to this point. And now I'm very pleased to introduce Councilor Annabra and thank her again for her leadership and her work.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I'm really, really excited. You guys, you know how excited I get for this legislation to pass for the second time tonight. As Council President Miller already said, this is a big win-win-win, win-win-win-win-win. It just keeps going. This is the first concrete way that we are implementing our commitment to be America's first climate job city. This is also a specific recommendation in the Climate Justice Plan. So we're implementing both at the same time, you guys. Just as a reminder, it requires all municipal buildings to be carbon neutral by the year 2040 with strong labor standards and apprenticeship programs to ensure that how we do the work is as important as getting to carbon neutrality. We're not just going to build the same bad economy we have now, frankly, but with a little green color. We're going to do it right this time. Also of note, immediately there'll be no new gas hookups for municipal buildings. A few people have asked, why not all buildings in Providence? And to that I'd say, I would love to. I would love for us to be able to do this for all buildings in Providence. We're precluded by state law from doing that. So I also encourage all of my colleagues to support the legislation that our friends at the Green Energy Consumers, who are behind me, are putting forward at the State House to try and push for all electric buildings statewide for all new construction. But I just also want to point out that this is a way that we, though, can lead by example, not only in meeting our climate goals, but improving the health and safety of our buildings. These are school buildings, these are municipal buildings where our workers work day in and day out, and we're removing harmful, polluting appliances and other really harmful things from those buildings and making them a safer place for our kids and our city workers. So this is an important and necessary step to achieve our climate mandates, but it's only the first of very many steps we're going to take together. So I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, who's going to talk about a whole bunch of things and our partnership together in climate jobs. And I think is Mike going next or Pat? Mike or Pat, come on up.
Thank you, Chair Anderbaugh. Thank you, President Miller. I love how on message we are. Win for climate, win for justice, win for jobs. This ordinance helps to tackle climate change at the scale and pace that science demands. It requires utilizing registered apprenticeship programs. It expands good paying career opportunities for communities that need them most. And it also ensures that this work is done with the kinds of wages that lift people out of poverty. It facilitates 21st century facilities for Providence children and families, including our schools and our recreation centers. And it further aligns the policy priorities of the city with the Providence Climate Justice Plan, a plan which was developed by Providence frontline communities. There is no better time than now, with historic investments from the federal government, the biggest federal investments since the New Deal of the 1930s. These are investments that the city will be able to utilize for the purpose laid out in this ordinance. And we know that this ordinance is just the beginning. We have more work to do, and we look forward to working with the City Council and the Mayor's Office to usher in a just transition for the City of Providence. And with that, I'll welcome my friend and brother, Pat Crowley.
Thank you, Mike. Well, listen, it's very easy for bodies like this to pass a resolution, put it on a shelf, and let it collect dust. It's pretty easy for mayors across the country to take an ordinance like this and just say thank you very much. This city council, led by Council President Miller, led by Councilor Anderbaugh, and every single member of this body has shown that this city council, this city, is going to lead the way to a transition to a real different economy in this country. They took action, they've shown leadership, they've shown determination, and damn it, we're going to make this economy something that we can be proud of in Rhode Island, and the Providence City Council and the City of Providence and the Mayor Smiley's administration is going to lead the way. Thank you very, very much. I'm so proud of your efforts. You've all deserved a round of applause, and we're going to make sure that this is just step number one. We're going to keep going and make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to take a moment to shout out all of the counselors who stayed with us for tonight. So we have Councilwoman Anthony, Councilwoman Vargas, we have Councilman Espinal, we have the President Pro Tem Pichardo, turn this way and not miss anyone, Councilman Sanchez, Councilman Gonzalez, Councilwoman Peterson, Councilman Reyes, Councilwoman Harris, and Councilman Vargas. I'm going to sign this that we just passed tonight. It truly was a collective effort. It's been many months of conversation. And we look forward to continuing to work with Mayor Smiley in his administration and moving this forward. So thank you all so much. Thank y'all. Any questions?
So great question. So the state mandate that we're going to be get there early. It's totally in fact, for us to meet the statewide mandate, some things are going to have to be done early.
Councilwoman Anderwa why. A lot of this was right. There's a lot of this is very much coalition with the building.
So much coming. I'm not going to scoop myself, but we're more on the way. It's a big economy, yeah.
Any other questions? Prefer to not lose this now.